Record it. All right. Let me open the chat so we. All right, cool. We're live.
All right.
Back again.
Graphic Novel Geeks back again. Yeah, we're just lamenting
Yes, he's back again.
Our partner Joe, that's unable to join us due to some laptop problems. He last weekend, I guess he was tabling some Hellfire comics at this concert with the Space Monkeys, the Space Cadets, and Half Rotten Goddess, and I missed out that show, so that was too bad. But Matt was saying that it was a pretty awesome show. I've seen Half Rotten Goddess before, great band.
Yeah,
come out online, Half Rotten Goddess.
Yeah, I ended up skipping that show because I ended up going to see like the Mission UK with the Chameleons UK the next day. Basically, the UK bands.
Yeah.
Which was also a fabulous show, but totally different style of music.
For sure. Yeah, I missed out on that as well.
And surprisingly, the band I thought I would like the least, I actually really liked a lot.
Which one was that?
Mission UK. I've never been the biggest fan because I was always a bigger Sisters of Mercy fan and kind of like, took Andrew's side on that for some reason that I can't explain. And it's like, but re-listening, it's like, they're actually really good. And his voice holds up better than like the Sisters the last time I saw him.
All right. Well, Gothic Geeks, here we go. All right. So
let's talk comics.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're super excited to kick it off, Matt, but Dylan and I are pretty excited to talk about Fire and Ice.
Yeah,
Smallville.
I got that one, but I didn't read it yet, but I got that too.
Oh, you didn't read it yet?
No,
man,
but
let's all right, so we'll talk about other comics. You take the next 15 minutes to read it, and then we'll talk about this.
15 minutes? I don't think it'll be 15 minutes.
It reads pretty quick.
It reads pretty quick.
But we can talk about well, okay, I have one I can talk about for a few minutes that which was Titans 3, which continues to be like one of the better titles on the for me, just because I love Titans like so much, and their use of Brother Blood in the series has just been interesting. For the first time ever in Brother Blood's history, I actually kind of care about what happens with the character, which is like a big improvement over the last 40 years of his existence. So, although I guess it's Brother Eternity now, since he's no longer leading the Church of Blood.
Church of Blood.
And he's got Tempest with him.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, it's been very interesting. So it's like, we started off with future Wally's dead in the first issue. The stuff going on with Brother Blood and Tempest being his follower. And like, at the end of this, we find out that he's no longer leading the Church of Blood, but he's possibly infected by an alien sort of thing.
Okay.
Which has been like really just fun, because Wally's being his normal self, where he's like, no, I'm not going to stay like put in like not die. My future self not going to die, like where this all started. It's like, I'm just going to do what I want, which is typical sort of impulsive Wally from, I guess, the Mark Waid era more so than recent years. But it's hard to say, because it's like Wally's been dragged through the mud so much the last 5-6 years, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, ever since when they restarted up the numbering on his series and, did the storylines with his children, that was great. Ever since that ended, they've really put him through the ringer.
Well, I'm looking forward to Flash #1 because he's actually the main star of that new Flash series.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to that as well. So, hey, how did Tempest end up with Brother Blood?
Because Brother Blood is preaching that the Earth can't survive humanity, and that humanity should leave. And Tempest agrees.
Okay.
So it's like, I'm not sure if he's like playing a long game, because it is Brother Blood, and like, treachery is thy middle name. But it's pretty interesting nonetheless, because he's not in that stupid costume that he used to wear. He's actually just like, he kind of looks like a more punky Jimmy Olsen.
I you know, kind of like the skull mask and red cape.
You know what though? This is more interesting because it's like think of the Church of Oblivion or Eternity, whatever it's like the name he's going by now is like more of a take as Scientology or something like that, or a like poke at the sort of more weird cultish religions like that.
Mhm.
And it's like, but at least he seems to be doing good now more so than that. And like, yeah, there he is now. Like how he appears in regular comics, it's just like no mask, looking kind of like, I guess more like an older Jimmy Olsen, I guess. But it's I don't know. That's who's writing this one. Tom Taylor's doing interesting stuff with that, and Tom Taylor is just like everything he's done like in the last few years outside of his Marvel work has been like pretty interesting. Because he did what? Injustice, DC,
Okay. I think he's,
both of
oh,
and Nightwing.
sorry, I guess my internet connection's not too hot. You had you cut out there, Dylan.
Oh yeah,
about that.
because looking at his DC work, like that led up to this, is like he said, well, Superboy he's writing right now, which had the Road to Injustice
Uh-huh.
storyline going on in that, and Superboy, Son of Superman, the series that was before that, doing Titans, but he also did Injustice, which was amazing. Deceased all the volumes of that, which I think is like very underrated book. And then he did something on Marvel that I wasn't too fond of. That was like I can't remember, but yeah, no, it's like I'm kind of like interested to see where he's going to go with the second half of the storyline.
Right on.
Plus, it's got the Titans you care about. No
Uh-huh.
Panthera, no Damian Wayne as Robin. It's like it's Dick, Wally, Raven, Changeling, Cyborg, Donna Troy, and Tempest. It's like
And Starfire.
yes.
There you go.
So it's like it's all the
Classic
core
Perez
Titans that
lineup.
you actually care about.
Yeah, classic Perez lineup.
Yeah,
Like the original
I don't think I've been this excited about Titans since like that Devin Grayson run back in the late
Not
'90s, early
familiar with that.
2000s.
What's that?
I think that was the last time I was really this excited about a Titans run. It was like that Devin Grayson run, which was like when they just started calling them the Titans originally,
Oh,
which was
okay.
all of them together again.
So, like the late 90s Titans.
Yeah,
Okay.
Devin Grayson was writing that run, and she's great.
All right, cool. Yeah, you know, the comment about Brother Blood makes me think about our conversation we were having yesterday a little bit. We're talking about like Batman depends on the writer, but you know, a lot of times he kind of has no personality. Like he's just
Yeah.
kind of very generic because he's like, you know, one of the original superhero archetypes. You know, it's like Batman. He's the first, and it's just like, you know, he's full of angst. His parents were killed, and that's that. And I guess that's like a drawback to being the archetype of all archetypes. Well, I mean, not really, but for comics, the archetype of all archetypes is, you know, he kind of ends up with no personality. And I feel like what I've read with Brother Blood, it kind of feels that same thing, right? It's like, oh, he's this cult leader of this evil cult of blood. And it's kind of like, that's sort of the extent of the character development there. So interesting to hear that they're kind of developing him and turning him into like a real character. So
Then you're gonna love Batman and Robin #1, which
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
talk about a little bit later. But on part of my Williamson watch because he writes Batman so well. I don't think since the Batman Universe series by Bendis, which if you haven't read that is just probably one of the best Batman stories I've read in years because he's not a jerk to everybody. He has friends. He actually cracks jokes. He returns people's calls. It's like that's the Batman I want to read about. Like that sort of world's finest back in the like 70s era, world's finest, where it's like him and Superman were friends, and you know, it's like there was no one they trusted more than like each other, sort of deal and all that, which is kind of like well, I'm excited about reading the new Wade stuff that I need to get caught up on because it's like he seems to be doing that sort of thing where the Batman family and the Superman family are not jerks to each other. They're actually friends,
Huh.
which is like the kind of stuff I like reading, because I like reading about friends and like,
Yeah.
people that like rely on each other and like, are there for each other. Not, I mean, it's like why Ollie's always been the better Batman to me. It's just because Ollie's got your back no matter what.
Yeah, because he cares. But yeah, I mean that's a different take on Batman for sure. I mean, he never returns my phone calls. Just saying. But
Well, you are in the Sinestro Corps, so
what's that?
you are in the Sinestro Corps, so I kind of get it.
Well, that was just for that one event, really. A lot of people were in the Sinestro Corps for that one world-shattering event. Remember? I mean, I think you were, weren't you?
Nah, I just took over the Orange Lantern Corps.
I've always been the Blue Lantern, but I have a shirt. I don't know where it is.
Right on. Cool. Yeah.
So how far are you? How far are you in Fire and Ice, Matt?
I don't know, middle-ish, almost the middle.
All
I
right.
think we can start talking about it, Keith, because it's like he can get caught up all that, because it's like
Well,
we can discuss the beautiful art inside of that book.
Yeah, art's really good. And it seems very slice of life.
all right, well, I was thinking we could do Birds of Prey, but yeah, let's talk about this art. Natasha Bustos or
The
Bustos.
art is good, man.
Bustos.
So it's got a real cartoony kind of vibe going.
Sort of
to it.
manga feel to it.
Manga.
Yeah, it does. So it is reduced, right? So like, look at their pants, their outfits. There's not a lot of excessive lines detailing all the folds and texturing of their outfits, right? It's just super clean. There's the
And
outline.
beautiful thick lines too.
Yeah, nice thick lines. There's your coloring. And you know what this really reminded me of? The whole thing was that Patsy Walker Hellcat series that I've
Yes.
a few times that I love. And to the extent where I was even like, well, who wrote that Hellcat series? Because gosh, these seem pretty similar. But no, totally unrelated. So I'm of course talking about this Hellcat, Patsy Walker
Yes.
Hellcat series, which was super lighthearted. She ran a talent agency for superheroes that was written by Kate Leth and drawn by artist Brittany L. Williams. Whereas this, completely different crew, written by Joanne Sterer. And I don't know if this is her first outing in comics or first in DC. But I'm totally unfamiliar with Joanne Sterer, but real solid first issue, good character interactions.
I love Ice in this. I love the way the artist draws her. That sort of innocence that they give a tribute to her more so than Fire, who's like hot-headed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those panels. Like basically the bottom panel in each of those, that like one of Martha patting Ice's head and her just like looking so just like thrilled to be in Smallville.
Yeah.
That one where they're just staring at each other. It's like I like kept going back and staring at those pages like a couple of times last night after reading it.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I dug those too. I was, really paying attention to. Well, here I was like, oh, I guess they're like the same height, but then you can see there is a distinction in their height. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's just she's got her head down.
Yeah,
And
that's what I thought too.
really
Write it
really
down.
thinking about how much attention that the artist did put into the perspective and the height and all of that good stuff. So that was super cool. One thing that I noted is that they did kind of dismiss. So I've only read the first half of the Tom King Human Target series. I didn't finish reading that up because my new
I believe that's out of continuity though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Tom King stuff must be out of continuity because they did ignore some of the stuff they talked about for Ice in that
I
series.
believe he said that on one Comic Pop's channel on YouTube. Is like that one is out of continuity.
Ah,
Just because of like.
well, That's too bad because somebody's head exploded in that series, and I was like, well, that's kind of cool. You know, that guy was always a jerk, anyways.
Yeah, I guess I need to get the Power Girl one shot that came out like a little bit ago. That as a prelude to this, which is fine because Power Girl's great.
Yeah, you know, they did make a reference to Power Girl, and I of course read that. I enjoyed it. But I guess it was slightly forgettable because I was like, I've got no idea what they're talking about. I don't remember this happening. I don't know.
So
But yeah, so I guess in the Power Girl special, there was a battle between Fire and Ice and Guy Gardner, and probably Power Girl was involved. And I guess Superman ended up banishing Fire and Ice to Smallville for
Which-
their own protection.
and giving him a robot.
And giving them
Yeah.
a robot, Elron, who you got right. So, oh man, you know, Elron here, it's been a while, right? But so classic character from Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis from the Justice League International, Justice League Europe, Justice League, whatever it was. And man, this writer, Joanne, she really nailed him, right? I
With
mean,
him wearing the Elron wearing the apron is just like the best, like one of the best visual gags of the whole thing. And like,
yes. I mean, like, okay, so it starts out, he's like, what is this, pie? And then
I'll never turn down pie.
and then he's just like, yes, I bake pie for everyone, pie. and of course, Fire, she's, why would I want pie? Fire, why would you not want pie?
Exactly.
Grab your pie and eat it. Fire, come on, everybody loves pie.
Can we talk about one of the most heartbreaking panels of this book, though? At least for me, and like, there's like right after the King Shark fight, which is like a non-fight really, and just a great excuse for have King Shark show up for a minute. And my buttocks, release my buttocks.
Right. Yeah.
But when you turn the page and like right here, the top two panels of the following page where Ice says that it's like maybe accepting the fact that her time as a superhero is over. As for it is, it's like, oh, it's like, this is what I'm talking about. That art is just so gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's like you can almost see like the water in her eyes.
Yeah.
And that look on Fire's face of like disbelief and shock.
Yeah, you know,
It's kind of like shows me how like far they've come as characters because they're not talking to each other.
Yeah, but also like that's cartooning at its finest here, right? Like, you know, it's very minimalist. Like I was saying, there's not all these like Image Comics, Jim Lee extra Rob Liefeld lines and stuff, you know, very minimalist. And that's cartooning at its finest, right? Where you can reduce it to as few lines as possible and then still express those emotions in such a powerful way, right? It's like just
it reminds me of
standing there not looking at each other. Boom. That says it all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah. It reminds me of Alex Toth at his finest, I think.
Huh.
Or who did New Frontier? Why can't I think of his name?
Oh, right. Dennis Conway? Dennis
No, it's no, it's the same one that did Batman Ego and
yeah, let me pull that up. It was of course the award-winning team of Darwin Cook and Dave Stewart.
Darwin Cook.
Did Keller. Yeah, Darwin Cook. Yeah,
who's like just like the best cartoonist of all time. I love his work so much. Oh, so, but if Matt's like actually finished with the book, we can talk about how this is a book comic written just for me, obviously.
I'm almost done with it.
Okay. Let me go back. There was another scene in here that I thought was like really good.
Uh-huh.
Well, any interaction with Martha was great. But actually, you know what? I like all the little side characters that they brought in too, like the waitress who's is that Linda?
No, her name
Uh-huh.
No, Rocky.
Yeah, right. What are they gonna do with her there?
Yeah, Rocky is like really good. So that the
Yeah, Rocky.
stylist that Ice hired that was working at the Big T's before they got there, before it went out of business. I think her
Right.
name's Linda.
Yeah, she seems really cool. Like it seems like she's gonna be a pretty main part of this. Um she said something about like no cats though, so I was a bit disappointed with that. But I guess you can't judge people by that entirely, as difficult as it may be.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, what?
Tamarind, that's her name.
Cameron?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I don't see it, but all right, I'll believe you there. Um so yeah,
at least that's what Martha tells Lois or Tora, which is Ice.
okay, cool.
Tamarind. Isn't tamarind a thingy? Like a a not a
Candy
bean,
fruit.
a
Fruit, yeah.
a fruit. It's a fruit.
Yeah, yeah. Love tamarind. um Yeah, and well, of course, all right. So another thing that I'm sure you must love, that I love, is all the villains that they've made up for this thing, right? Smarty.
Salt, yeah.
Oh, Grodd has a little sister. Who knew?
Yeah, I thought that was Masala or Bonjour Masala. At least that's what I thought it was.
Monsieur Mala.
Yeah, because that's what it looks like with that like cap.
Yeah, well, apparently it's not Monsieur Mala, who I believe is completely unrelated to Grodd, but apparently Grodd has a little sister. And then what was it?
Honey.
Oh geez. The
something Wrangler is a pet Wrangler or something like that.
yeah, but it's just a cat hoarder, not really a super villain.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the salt one, that seems
yeah,
an interesting character,
melts
right?
ice and puts out fires.
Yes.
Oh,
Lot's
yeah,
wife.
King of Cats, just a pet hoarder.
Lot's wife. Melts ice, puts out fires. I mean, okay, that's and then they're like, oh yeah, that's the type of supervillain we need to fight. It's like, no, that sounds like the type of supervillain the two of you are going to lose to. Every other superhero in the world can fight Lot's wife. The two of you should not fight Lot's wife. You the two of you are the exception here. Why do you think that's a good idea, Fire?
And I like the one Honey that I guess is they have like the one like book club member saying that they want the hairstyle of that.
Yeah. And that's the type of thing that just like they did this type of stuff in the Hellcat series, and they used a lot of like supporting characters with the interactions there. And it's like, here's this scene. Here we got the book club that Martha brought along.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that? So Superman ended up with the fight and grabbing King Shark in front of the studio, the hair salon, and so they're talking. So all the Smallville gals are talking about Superman, right? And the one says, "I only caught him from behind, but boy howdy, that was enough." And Martha, because somebody's talking about her son that way, right? That was just hilarious, man. That cracked me up. That just cracked.
The yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that just seems so real to me, right? I mean, not that I know about what girls are talking about in their book clubs, but I imagine that Superman's got a pretty nice butt, so
not as good as Nightwing's though.
Buns of steel, dude.
But it's like it's also that page like right there. Just is like why I love Ice so much. Is it's like where she's just sitting there going, "Elrond, this is wonderful. I could kiss you." It's like because she's just so appreciative for every little thing.
Yeah.
I have no mouth, my Arctic overlord. Isn't the naming that Elrond uses for everyone too is just fantastic.
Yeah, which really falls in line with, his first appearance with when he worked for that Galactic Overlord guy. I mean, that's the terms that he used for this guy that wanted, I don't remember the character's name, but the supervillain that wanted to rule the universe. He is like, okay, my Galactic Overlord, and all these like over the top naming titles for this guy. So it's very, Joanne clearly has read Justice League International stuff and knows exactly how to write Elrond. I mean,
as well, you should read all of that stuff because it's fantastic.
Exactly. Like if you're going to write about Fire and Ice, you need to read that stuff because that's where they really come from, right? I mean, the superpowers, Global Guardian
Well, they both made their first appearance in the Super Friends.
Yeah. The Super Friends, Global Guardian stuff. That's where they showed up, but there's nothing to them, right? It was the 5 years of Justice League International that developed them as the
it's also because it was Ice Maiden in that one, and it was just like, it's not the same one because there's two Ices.
Okay.
That exist in the DC universe, which is like
only two.
There's two,
as far as I understand it. Yeah. Well, Ice Maiden.
Yeah.
Oh,
but this is the one everyone likes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And now let's talk about like likable characters in the book now that Matt's done with it, and the reveal of the guest star of the next issue, my favorite DC character of all time, Ambush Bug, who is just like Keith Giffen's like love child, basically. He is the absolute best.
Yes, working at Big Belly Burger,
which he did in the old Ambush Bug second miniseries, if I remember correctly. He had a job there at that time.
Did he? What was the second miniseries? The one that skipped issue number 6 that just came out like 10 years ago?
No, it came out like a year after the original one. It was also a 4-issue miniseries.
Oh, like the Son of Ambush Bug?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was in that one.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
You're thinking about Ambush Bug Year None.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking about Ambush Bug Year None, exactly. Okay, yeah, because I don't really remember Big Belly Burger until Justice League International, and those Ambush Bugs were before that.
But, yeah, he worked at a burger place and like for a short time in that, if I remember, from what I remember correctly, because I remember it being like this last page being like oh, it's an homage.
Yeah, I was super happy in the Blue Beetle movie. They showed that burger and I'm like, oh, Big Belly Burgers. And then there was the logo, Big Belly Burgers. I was like, oh my goodness, somebody paid attention and did it right. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
Big Belly Burgers.
Yes, and it's like, oh, it's like, it just makes me so happy to see Ambush Bug.
And the way they lead into
nobody
it,
loves
right?
him but me.
So here's Beatrice on the phone, calling him up. Hey, want to make a quick buck? I just need to kick your ass a little and film it. And I mean,
lady, I'd pay you for that.
Lady, I'd pay you for that.
You know what? It's like I can't hear Ambush Bug in my head anymore without hearing Henry Winkler.
Oh, really?
The Brave and the Bold cartoon.
Oh, you can hear Henry Winkler in your head and not hear the Fonz?
Well, I've seen Henry Winkler in so many things since like that role of the Fonz, like the
he's the Fonz. For me, he'll never be anything except the Fonz, because I mean, come on.
Oh,
he
does that great.
Get on it. Hey.
He did that. He was in a show just recently that like wrapped up with that I really like, and I watched a lot of it with the guy from Saturday Night Live that was in It. Oh God, why can't I think of his name? Who does these really good impressions and all that. But he's like, he plays an acting coach on that, and he's like, there's this story being told where he's like, Henry, I need you to come out this really hard and all that. And it's like, you mean I have to be an asshole? His exact words was like that. I was just like incredulous. It's like, because I guess Henry Winkler is the nicest guy in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, nice.
Like he hugs everybody. He's like not afraid of male affection. It's just like I kind of like look up to that guy now. Like just because of who he is in real life. Barry, that's the show.
Barry?
Yeah, which
Huh.
is so good. It's like it's on HBO. It's like if you have HBO Max, just
Yeah.
watch it. It is so wonderful.
All right. All right. So hey Matt, man, what did you think of Fire and Ice?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's funny. It's very slice of life. It does make sense on their whole like social media thing that they want. I mean, it's really fire, but like the thing that gets me the most in this book is the art, probably. Hopefully there is more action and then following issues where they actually use their powers to fight. That's what I liked about them originally.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm
And it looks
actually
like that they got just like banished or whatever because like they got in a fight with Guy Gardner instead of helping people.
Uh-huh.
Assuming that was the reason, right? And it does seem like
Yeah.
Superman. She was like telling Superman that like they had it, and he's like, "No, you didn't have it," and stuff like that. Where's that part again?
to be honest, I'm kind of hoping they don't use their powers because I'm actually enjoying the other stuff in the book a lot more than that. It's like
it's cool too, yeah. And I like it also. It's just
Yeah, I feel like this book's going to be more character driven, character interactions and less fighting. But
yeah.
however she rolls it, man, I'm along for the ride.
I have a
Yes.
question for you.
It'll be a fun
Just-
book.
Now, maybe I meta read this issue a little bit since it's like I can do that, but it's like the whole King Shark fight being broken up by Superman and all that. I kind of wondered if that was a reaction to like everybody's distaste with Man of Steel, where it's like Smallville and Metropolis just get wrecked in a fight where it's like, Superman saves nobody in those fights. It's like, and this is like the fight's over before it even has a chance to begin. And
Yeah.
gives you a chance for that witty dialogue between King Shark and Fireworks, like, let me at him.
Yeah.
My buttocks, release my buttocks.
Yeah. Put her down, let me fight her. Yeah, I don't know. I never watched the movie, no interest in it particularly, but yeah, maybe it's a reaction there. It's just like this is Superman. This is, King. It's like somebody like King Shark, your run-of-the-mill villain, isn't going to be able to do anything that Superman ain't going to be able to stop, right? Not his hometown. Not his hometown. He's got his eye on his hometown.
Oh, and it's like the King Shark that I like, the sort of dumb one.
Yeah.
That's like James Gunn captured perfectly in the Suicide Squad, where it's just like anybody where Amanda Waller's asking the Suicide Squad if anyone has a question, and King Shark just raises his hand. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's just the dumbest King Shark, and it's great.
Very along the lines of Gail Simone, Secret Six King Shark, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and she didn't really write him as he was dumb. I mean, he's just a shark, right? He is just very simple-minded.
Exactly.
I'm a shark. I
think simple-minded is a better way to put it.
What?
I think simple-minded is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Well,
although I do love King Shark from Harley Quinn too.
Yeah.
Which is just like basically Ron Funches, and just like that's all he is really. So it's like because he's funny as heck.
I like the robot. What's the name again of this?
Elron.
Elron.
Like L. Ron Hubbard, who wrote Battlefield Earth and Scientology.
Yeah,
I do.
Tom Cruise be without L. Ron Hubbard?
Oh, actually, let's use the model. Yes.
Well, I think that the naming of Elron was a sort of jab at the Battlefield Earth series.
Yeah, I've never read those, so I don't.
I know what the general storyline is, and it's just like it's dumb as hell. Well, should we go into like the book with similar art that I think was also just as really well done, which I know you read. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
Matt got a chance to, but
Which
Yeah, I
one?
don't know. Did you have more to say about Fire and Ice, Matt?
Um, was it Superman that got them the salon?
No,
no,
it
Who?
sounded like they got that with their own money. And
no, Elrond got it for him because Elrond's the signer on the lease. If you actually
yeah,
look,
the co-signer,
Right,
right?
yeah, because
But-
his credit's
but-
good and Fire sucks.
But
Your
Fire
credit-
Fire did comment that she used up all of her savings putting it into the 12-month lease. So she had some cash as well.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I feel like that was a tad on the stereotypical side. Like they're girls, let's give them a salon type of thing. I know Fire used to be a model and everything that, but like, I
Well-
think that they didn't really need to go into a salon, you know?
I feel I give it a pass because if it was a guy writing it, then I would maybe feel that way. But the fact that as a gal writing it, if a girl wants to write girls and wants to put them in a salon, then that just to me says that, well, some girls like that. And if that's where
Yeah.
she wants to take these gals, then go for it.
it'd be like
True.
any male character owning a barbershop. It's like it's a place where people meet and you can have exposition without it coming off as forced. That's the reason they have
People
like
do
the
meet
salon
there, yeah.
or the barbershop.
That's fair. That's very valid there.
So it's like it's a meeting point where everyone can talk and like, which also signals to me that this is going to be very slice of life and like
Yeah.
them like not fighting but learning a lesson about what Superman was trying to teach them,
Yeah.
and maybe having Smallville's actual guardians. It's like that'd be a great place for like their power levels because they're not the strongest characters.
I don't know. They've
mean-
had Fire be pretty powerful in some series. Like I think maybe in Checkmate they had her pretty powerful, and
Yeah.
Human Target they had Ice is pretty powerful. And they even brought up the issue of like, oh, she's always been kind of holding back because really she's super powerful. She could just like and freeze the air around somebody and they're dead.
Wasn't she a goddess or something
Yeah.
like that? Now that I think about it,
Yeah, excluding the Human Target, yeah, she's like a goddess, right?
yeah,
Princess of this like Norwegian tribe,
yeah.
like goddess. So yeah.
I like the Justice League International run that happened like years ago with them in it. It was good. I like that one. One that Booster Gold was the leader of. You remember that one? I like that one.
That was the Justice League International, Justice League Europe era.
Yeah. Justice League Antarctica. Oh wait, that wasn't Nort the leader of that?
Yes. So, yeah, no, like Fire and Ice was a real shock about how good it was. Like
Yeah.
there was like a million little choices that like I think most people are going to pass on this book, unfortunately, and it's just like I really wish people wouldn't because funny books are just like
Yeah.
so hard to come by.
I think most people will be missing out if most people are passing. But again, it's not a comic for everybody. If you
Yeah.
want just, action adventure, punch him in the face, then not the book for you. If you want funny, if you want social interactions, or if you're just looking for some, nice, clean art, then, this is a great book. Yeah, I'm so super happy. This is just the kind of stuff that I'm into right now.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like I like the interactions in that story and stuff like that. I like Fire in general, but I like the way I like her what's the word? Not spunk, but
Hot-headedness.
sort of like that drive,
Yeah.
I want more. Let's do more. But then she does that freaking TikTok, if you will, and she does the freaking dance, man.
With Elrond,
Her moxie.
that's a great word.
All right, well. Birds of Prey, huh?
Nice.
Kelly
Did
I
you
Thompson.
pick this
new
one up,
books
Matt?
again. Huh?
Did you pick this one up?
No, I haven't gone to the shop since last week, so I gotta go pick things up.
Okay, okay. Yeah, and just you know, if you see that Flash #1, you know, sorry, they'll be showing up in a month in the next shipment. So you know, I got a copy for you. But
Thanks.
if you want 2 copies, then
Hey,
pick
you
one
never
up
know.
now and get
I
one.
mean, I have like 15 Flash shirts or something like that.
Yeah.
13. I don't know, I was counting
But
already.
yeah, I mean, I'd say, you know, pick up Birds of Prey #1.
Yes.
You know, if you got the cash for it. It's written by Kelly Thompson. She is solid 99.5% of the time. It's off to a solid
99% of the
start.
time.
It's off to a solid start. So yeah, I'll let Dylan, why don't you kick it off, man?
It's like the art very much reminds me of the Fire and Ice sort of thing. It's like it's very sort of clean, thick lines, like not a lot of like busyness going on. But the thing that really struck me about this book, more so than that, the colors are gorgeous. Very sort of subdued colors, very watercolorish in a way. I want to say it's like the there's a scene in there that like I'm thinking of particularly like this one, which you can get a better shot of it. But the fight between Batgirl and Harley Quinn that is in the flashback is like those pinks and whites and blues.
The flashback, yeah.
So good.
Yeah, and this does have
I like that.
more cartoony feel to it, although it doesn't have that manga influence as much that we saw in Fire and Ice. So it has
Yeah.
quite a different style and feel to it. I loved the most was this Black Canary orphan
Oh, that's done really well.
page
Yeah.
page where, you know, it just has a fight and they're just twirling around fighting different villains. Like what I felt, the one thing I thought was a bit weird, but was kind of cool, is they're talking about how Cassandra Cain, Orphan, is like, you know, the most badass fighter you're gonna meet, that she can fight anybody to a draw. You know, she's a top-notch
She is
fighter.
the daughter of Lady
And-
Shiva and David Kane.
Yeah. And then as you go into this scene, you can see her kicking some butt, but it looked to me more like Black Canary was actually taking out more dudes than Orphan. So it's just like, well, based on this page, it looks to me like Black Canary is the better fighter here. But based on how this was Black Canary telling the story, even though she was talking about how awesome Orphan is, you know, I thought, okay, well, you know, that kind of makes sense that Black Canary's like, well, you know, I took out 12 people and I saw Orphan make her, what is it, Orphan or Orphan make Orphan? I saw
Orphan.
her take out like 5. It's like, that makes sense because, you know, we always see our stories from our own point of view, right? But yeah,
I really like the following that the Barda Cassandra interactions where she just calls her small bat.
yeah, Tiny Bat, was it?
Small bat.
Small Bat. Yeah, that was great. I did kind of like that take on Barda. It is a bit different. She's a bit more like the Incredible Hulk than usual.
Well, I think it kind of fits. Like they draw her, unlike the Mr. Miracle series by Tom King, which I loved. I love Barda in that as well. But I think this draws her closer to how Jack Kirby drew her in a lot of ways, where she is like a Hulk of a woman. I mean, it's like she's a very
yeah.
Didn't she like?
But
strong
she's never
woman.
been, you know, they've got her really simple-minded, I feel like, you know, oh, tiny bat, oh, smash bad guys. And she's, you know, she's never really been quite that simple.
Yeah,
No.
it's like yeah, they don't have her quite down like the Rosalind Kirby, who is Jack Kirby's actual wife and who the personality of Barda was based on.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
so
Barda's like a conglomeration of a Playboy model from like way back when, and the personality of Jack Kirby's actual wife. In fact, the actual interplay between Mr. Miracle and Barda has always been based off of Jack Kirby's actual married life.
Wow.
Because Rosalind was always taller than Jack Kirby. Was not a tall man.
Yeah.
He was actually kind of a small guy.
Okay.
But it's like he had like the biggest imagination of any comic creator of all time. Like,
yeah.
you know, it's like
Sure.
so it's like it's just anytime I see Barda, I'm happy.
Yeah. So, you know,
And Zealot.
yeah, I don't, you know, I don't know how I feel about Zealot. Never been a fan of the Wildstorm characters, particularly. I feel like it kind of gives Kelly a blank slate to do what she wants, but maybe
Yeah.
people that read Wildstorm more, maybe they have, you know, an idea of who Zealot is as a character. For me, she's just a blank slate that like anybody could do anything with, and I wouldn't know the difference. You know, she's just
And-
like, you know, super, the best of the best ninja assassin, kind of the same as any Wildstorm character, you know, the best of the best black ops, secret, undercover, elite.
She's closer to Wonder Woman, actually, in a lot of ways.
Is she?
Yeah. I
Oh,
didn't read a lot of Wildstorm, but I remember reading some Wildcats, and like she was one of the better written characters of that era.
Uh-huh.
So, and we got a little miniature glimpse of Grifter, who I mistook for Oliver Queen for like a little bit.
Yes, I had the exact same thing, right? And like I guess I didn't really pay too much attention to how this was Zealot, because I totally thought also that was Oliver Queen. And
I had
then
to look for the
I got
goatee.
confused when there was the whole Black Canary shows up and she's like Grifter. And I'm like, Grifter? What kind of, and then Ollie responds Canary. And I'm like, what kind of weird cosplay thing do they got going on where Black Canary is in bed with Ollie calling him Grifter? You know, it's like, whoa. And yeah, that took me a good minute or two to figure out what was going on. I was like, oh, that's not Ollie at all. That's Grifter.
No.
Okay.
It's a blonde guy with stubble. It's not a blonde guy with a goatee. Or Van Dyke, actually. Is what it has.
Yeah.
I also appreciate how they brought Harley into the Birds of Prey in this one, because they don't quite trust her, but they can see that she's trying to do good.
Right. Well, I mean, okay, frying pan or fish. Harley, of course, grabs the fish to use as a weapon, not the frying pan. And then
Well, she's
there's
not trying
like,
to kill her.
what's that?
She's not trying to kill her because, it's like ever since Joker War, I think it was, like she's really turned over the new leaf where she doesn't want to be a bad person.
Yeah. But then,
I mean,
you know,
still insane.
they've got the whole Wile E. Coyote mousetrap thing going on. So that was hilarious. But the best part was how it ends, right? Small bat, that was hardly a story. You barely spoke. This is not your strength. Do not feel bad, small bat. Stories are not your strength, but you have many other strengths.
Oh, so that was a great line from Barda.
Yeah, that made the issue for me, honestly.
And I kind of like how they did like make note of like what's going on in the Green Arrow series as well.
Yeah.
So you can tell this takes place after the miniseries that's going on right now, but
yeah,
it doesn't give anything away.
I was a bit confused by that. I don't want to spoil the ending bit since Matt hasn't read it, but I thought based on the Green Arrow series that, you know, Sin had been kidnapped, and they're talking about Sin being kidnapped. But then when they revealed more about who they're going after, I was like, huh, what? So it'll be interesting to see how the Green Arrow series ties up, because I guess now we know how it kind of ends. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
well, we know how it ends, but we don't know how we get there. And Sin is part of that series. It's Amanda Waller keeping the Green Arrow family apart. But they're not trying, because they're trying to find because it's Liam Harper that's with Ollie in the traveling through like the Green Arrow series.
Okay.
We haven't seen the only characters we haven't seen yet are Red Canary, Arrowette, and Diggle
Yeah.
in the Green Arrow series.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've read those books like 9 times each. It's like Green Arrow's my favorite character. So it's like
Right on. Well, hey, we're about wrapping up the time, and man, we, gosh, really spoke about Fire and Ice a lot. Just check in with Tatsuo. Did you have
yeah.
any books you wanted to talk about today?
That one, or for now, anyways.
Ah,
The
I
third
have
Dark.
not read number 3 yet. So
Oh, it's good. Like the art is good. Like I love the art and I love the writing in it. Anna Senti's doing a really good job with the story and everything like that.
uh-huh.
It's definitely a good follow up to the previous one. So I don't want to spoil it, but like it all like connects really well. And it has the Feral Five on
the
there.
Feral
But
Five.
the
Okay.
cover is a giveaway of what might happen in the book, pretty much. So there's either those covers that are like this happens, or
Uh-huh.
usually they're like this hero is like in trouble, but then it doesn't happen in the book. You know what I mean? Like they're like
Yeah,
beaten, but then the book it doesn't happen.
right.
Which isn't a bad thing either. That's a good thing too. You get you excited or kind of like, oh no, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, yeah. The bait and switch cover.
Yeah. But I definitely recommend this. It's a really good series.
Yeah, we were talking about that last time.
Yeah.
I thoroughly been enjoying it, and and Nascenti's been doing a great job with that, and I hope that they've got her on some more books coming up.
Yeah.
She really is a fabulous writer, Anna Cindy. We were just talking about her Daredevil just recently, you and I.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of rolling off our last episode. We were talking about her and talking about her Daredevil run. That's how I got into Daredevil when I first started collecting. I watched this special on Netflix or Amazon Prime. I think maybe it's Amazon Prime. Chris Claremont, basically the Chris Claremont X-Men story. And man, that was an excellent documentary. And Louise Simonson and Ann Nocenti were very involved in that. I guess Ann Nocenti was like the assistant editor, but it sounded like she was doing a lot of the grunt work, just trying to wrangle the universe and keeping it together and coming up with plot ideas with brainstorming with Louise and Chris Claremont, who of course it's mainly Chris Claremont. I mean, he made the X-Men what the X-Men are today, really, right?
Yeah. Well, didn't Anne also write the X Factor series?
I don't know. Did she, or was that all Louise Simonson?
It was one of those two.
Yeah, because I think Louise was doing mainly the New Mutants, but yeah, I can't remember who did X Factor. I want to say that was Louise also.
Although Ann Nocenti also wrote one of my. I think didn't she create Power Pack?
No, that was Louise Simonson also.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. X Factor first series. Issue number 1. Story by Bob Layton. There you go, man. Bob Layton.
Wow. I
Yeah,
think it took over at some point, though, if I remember correctly. I think by the time Apocalypse first appeared. I swear
that was like not okay. Yeah. So by number 20, Louise Simonson is writing it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So Louise Simonson took over. So she was the secondary writer on besides Chris Claremont. She was like the main writer on the X books. And based on this documentary, they kept it that way. Not 100% on purpose. I mean, they didn't want to exclude other people, but it sounded like Chris really had a clear idea of what the universe was as far as X-Men related. And with Louise and Ann Nocenti being like these assistant editors, they would go into these brainstorming sessions, and Louise really helped, bring out these other characters and plot ideas. And Chris Claremont, he just, didn't have the time to write them all. And
Yeah.
so Louise became like the partner that he worked with, and apparently they worked well together and fleshed out a lot of stories. So it's kind of like, Louise was Chris Claremont version 2.0 in the X-Men universe at the time.
I think she kind of kept him from like having too many dangling plot lines, that because it's like that's what I remember about Chris Claremont is like he'd introduce like this like weird idea and then like you never get an answer to it. Like it's just like
the
it was,
cleanup hitter, right?
exactly. So, but they're talking about like two people to have on your team though. It's like those two are just like Walt Simonson's wife,
Yeah,
who's like was a fantastic writer,
yeah.
her own writing, and Nocenti.
Well,
It's
well,
like, oh,
gosh, man, I really took this out in kind of a tangent there. So, sorry, Matt, didn't mean to.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah, I gotta read my other books. Like I bought a few other ones. I tried to find Zatanna #2 for the Night Terrors, but no luck.
Okay,
I want to get that one, then #3 when it comes out.
okay.
well, I don't think there is a thing. Night Terrors
Yeah,
is
it's
over.
just 2 issues.
Oh, just 2.
Yeah. You want me to check with my shop, see if he's got an extra copy?
Yeah, yeah, sure. But I went to Comics Experience. I went to Sour Cherry and Mr. Comics. They didn't have it. But
Okay. All right.
it's only 2. Interesting.
Yeah, those Night Terrors were all just 2 issues.
A little short thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't have Justice League Dark going on right now, so it's like Zatanna is like doesn't have a monthly vehicle, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Monthly vehicle.
So
And well, I don't know, she does have a monthly vehicle. Although maybe it's more of a Madame Xanadu / Zatanna hybrid, but you just go over to Marvel, read Scarlet Witch, and you're good.
Marvel knows what they did. They know why I'm not reading them anymore.
But Marvel's sorry, they want you back. It will be different this time.
I'll believe them when they like restore the marriage. So, because it's like I don't know, as a married person, I find like the Marvel saying like comic fans wouldn't understand a married life, so we need to break up Spider-Man's marriage is like the biggest insult in the world. So
Yeah, I mean, they're really taking it a different direction from DC, that besides like going with like ethnic diversity, LGBTQ plus, they're really hitting that stuff hard. And the other half of their books are really hitting the family aspect. It's like Superman, he's a dad, here's his big extended family. Batman, he's a dad, here's his big extended family. Wally West, he's a dad, here's his big extended family. Wonder Woman, she's a dad. Oh wait, never mind.
she's a mom though.
Green Arrow, he's a dad, here's his big so they're really taking, they're really selling it to people our age. They know that we were in comics as kids, we've got kids of our own now, we're trying to bring those kids into comics. So DC's really going down that route. So Marvel, thank you for doing something different, but you're wrong. There's a lot of dads out there reading comics, so you should put Spider-Man back to how he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I want to just point out like one thing that I think an artistic thing. We don't have to go into the book because I know you haven't read it yet, but the cover of Batman and Robin #1, where there's actually a bat and a Robin on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the characters, it's just like, oh, I love that. That's an artistic touch that I just thought was a chef's kiss of like, because I've never seen anybody do that before.
You mean put Batman and Robin on the cover?
Next to a bat and a Robin.
Ah, okay.
If you look at the bottom, there's a bat by Batman, there's a Robin by Robin.
Ah, okay.
So it's
I was gonna say that yeah, DC is always about legacy, so probably why
Yeah.
they lean more toward that, like
Yeah.
the family of heroes. You know, they do that really well. Marvel doesn't really have that much. It's more like one person part of another person, and then maybe there's a duo, but like not the same.
Well, Spider-Man has this stuff now, supposedly in the Dan
Yeah.
Slott run.
They are
So-
pretty different in that regards. The legacy heroes, yeah, Spider-Man has 20 billion different versions. You can say the same thing for the X-Men characters, I guess. But you know, I mean, that's like you know, a point of distinction and divergence between the two companies. And like my pal Neuvad, he's brought that up as well. I like Marvel better because they haven't had to reboot their universe 20,000 times. It's been one consistent universe since the beginning in 1961 or whatever, 1962. I'm like, yeah, but see, they've only had one consistent universe since 1962. DC's got, you know, 30 years on that, or 25
Yeah.
years on that, where they had to go through, you know, in 1958, they had to reboot all their characters due to changes in the industry and the fan base and everything else to try to save the industry. And, you know, it's like a different, you know, they're talking two different animals here. They went through two different things. And it's like, oh, well, you know, Marvel had characters back, Captain America and Human Torch. It's like, yeah, but that didn't really happen. They just pretended like that really happened, right? Marvel just took old characters and you know, used them for their stories. They didn't actually, it wasn't a continuing universe, you know, that didn't really happen.
And technically, they undid the reboots in a weird sort of way, like with Josh Williamson, because if you go back and read, it's like, yes, Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, and then we had the post-Crisis world. Yes, we had 52, but the Dark Crisis on Infinite Earth series kind of undid the original Crisis, which kind of brought everything back into one world again, and a multi-world. So it's like, I'm kind of excited by DC's landscape right now.
Yeah, and to that point, yeah, DC, you really got to stop doing a Crisis every 4 or 5 years to reboot your whole universe. Just let it be, man. You guys
Well,
are
with Dan DiDio gone, I
now.
think that's like kind of the plan.
What's that?
With Dan DiDio gone, I think that's kind of the plan.
Yeah, it seemed like it, and then they did the Dark Crisis thing.
Yeah,
So-
which undid Crisis. Which is like,
which the Crisis, the final Crisis, which ended the Infinite Crisis, which ended. I mean, I don't know, man. Yeah, let's hope they just let it be.
Yeah, I hope so too.
well, Josh Williamson is also smart enough that I think that he can make it work. I mean, it's
The
like
problem
a
is
bad comic.
Is the next guy in 5 years going to be smart enough to not undo it all, you know? And what are the powers that be from the Discovery Channel going to call down upon DC Comics?
Well, yeah, that's the big trouble that I can see happening for DC is like, if Discovery decides to split up DC, I mean, they would sell Batman just like on its own for like, you know, a certain amount of money. And it's just like, it'd be back to like where it was like in the Justice Society days, the original Justice Society, where it was like, those weren't like under one banner of one company. It was just like, it was a couple of different companies just getting together and like putting their characters together.
Yeah, that's why there is no Batman, no Superman, right?
Well, there was in the old days, but yeah, no, it's like not why there's none now.
Now
Because-
the Batman and Superman weren't in there. They are in there now because they've been retconned.
They're in there too stuff, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was like the 60s. So yeah, it's like DC's minefield, but I love it because I love their characters, and I love the fact that there's kid sidekicks still in the DC world. Something I've always appreciated. So, oh, you got anything else, Matt? Or
No, that's it for now. I gotta read the other ones before I talk about them more.
so yeah, I got a stack of books that I still got to read. It's like the new Danger Street, which I'm looking forward to getting into that series because it's just like it's gotten better and better. Like each issue is just great.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, our question here is it seems like it's a 12 issue miniseries, I thought, but how can it not be 13?
Exactly. And which character are they not going to use for a title?
Yeah. I
And
mean,
did we confirm that it's actually going in the order that they appeared in?
yeah, they absolutely are. So I mean, if it's only 12, then that means they wouldn't have book 13, which would be New Gods. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
it might be 13.
Yeah, I hope it's 13 because how could it not be 13?
Which means we still have 4 more issues to go, which is like great. But it seems like it's like entering the third act and the finale sort of at this point.
Yeah, for real.
So,
All right, cool. Great talking to you guys. I guess we'll do it
Yeah.
again in a few more weeks, huh?
yeah.
man.
At which point it's like we should have the or are you not getting the 5th week or the books that you missed out on until the next shipment, right?
Yeah, it's just once a month, but if you want to drop an extra $20 for shipping, then I'll ask him to send it earlier.
Maybe. Because
Yeah.
it's like I'd like to talk about Flash because I know like Matt wants to talk about that one probably
Yeah.
sooner rather than later. But also like did they have to reorder the alternates or whatever that Dark Horse book was?
Yeah. So that will probably be in the next shipment, because he doesn't, they sell mostly DC Marvel, so stuff like that he had to put in a special reorder for.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
fine. It's like I'm looking forward to that one. Just
Cool, right
because
on.
it's like I gotta return your MODOK book.
Yeah.
I'll bring that by later today.
All right.
That one.
Yeah, we'll talk offline about that.
Yeah.
So all right, well, cool.
All right, gentlemen.
Great talking to y'all.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Grappling Level Geeks signing off. We'll be again on in 2 weeks.
All right.
And read Fire and Ice.
Okay, cool.
All
You
right.
got it in the
Let's
last
stop
thing.